Hello and welcome everyone to the Student Success Workshop. Today we will be talking about the soft skills, communication. So without any further ado, we will begin. So here, let's start. Okay. First of all, I would like to ask you, what is in your mind when you joined this workshop about communication, about the soft skills communication? What comes to your mind that what will we be discussing here today? You can either write your answer in the chat box or you can unmute and share your thoughts with us. What do you think when we are talking about this soft skill communication? What comes to your mind? Information sharing, Suganti is saying. Yes, that's correct. What else? What else? When we hear the word communication, why is it important? You got that message earlier that, make sure to join this workshop. It's about communication. Like, why are we talking about it? Why is it so important to have this soft skill? So one thing, as Suganti is saying, that information sharing, that, the information that we have, how do we share it with others? But what else? The communication, effective communication, it is a soft skill that benefits everyone in workplace. We should communicate often to develop this soft skill. There are many skills that we can learn, just like programming or coding. We can, attend the coding program and learn it. But communication is such a skill that you have to improve on by yourself, by using it, right? By communicating. So, there are many different types of communication: face-to-face, email, presentation. More you do it, better you get at it. Okay. So every method of communication, it's different from another. Like, for example, verbal communication is different from written communication, because when we are talking, we can use the pitch of our voice, but when we are writing, we don't have that, right? We don't have any facial expressions that we can include in there. We don't have our voice. We can't go take it up or down, or make it seems like that we are surprised at something. We can't add these emotions when we are writing something. So each set of communication is different from another, and it is important, when you join the workforce, and even now while you are a student, that you use all these different types of communication. And why should you use all these different types of means of communication? So that you can improve on it and you can be a well-rounder when it comes to communication. Okay. So, communication, when we are communicating in our workplace, and, before I talk about that, I actually just want to explore something that we have discussed when we did our first workshop on soft skills. And, something we said and learned was that soft skills, they not only help us in a professional setting, in our workplace, in our learning atmosphere, but it also helps us as an individual, as a family member, as a sibling, as a friend. So soft skills are very important in that regard, that it's not only going to improve our work ethics, but it's also going to improve our relationships at home with our friends, etc. So here, as you can see on the screen, that there are various ways of communication. We have email, Slack, WhatsApp, board meetings, etc. But in any of these means that you acquire to communicate, make sure that when you're addressing others, that you are clear in your message and your tone of voice is clear, And you should, also notice that when other people are communicating, and take tips and techniques from them to find a communication style that works for you. So when, again, you are with your teachers, your instructors from, for many long hours, for many, for many months now, and there might be one instructor that you like their way of communicating more than the others, then you can pick on, how that person is communicating, and then you communicate and explain your code the same way, right? And another thing I would like to suggest here as a teacher myself, that I say to my students, that, when you are learning something, when you're coding, programming, apart from communication, when you're learning something, don't move on to the next step unless you are completely, fully comfortable with what you have learned. That comfortable that you can explain it to someone fully. So, sometimes we read something, some instructions, an email, and we just go through it quickly, and then we're like, yeah, I know what it's talking about. Or if we are, doing a project, we don't read all the instructions, and we're like, yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do. Or we are listening to a lecture, and the instructor is teaching, and then we're like, yeah, I got it. But the thing is, you can only fully understand or grasp anything unless you feel very comfortable explaining it to someone. So, when you are communicating with someone else, make sure that your tone of voice is clear, your message is clear, and again, pick on the techniques and tips from your teachers, from your instructors, how they are explaining the code, the program, the projects, and use them in the future when you become either an instructor or a programmer. When you are explaining your code, you can use that skill set. So communication is very important. And as I said before, that communication works for those who work on it, right? Just like anything, you have to work on it. You can't be just, number one, you can't assume that what you are thinking, others in your team are thinking the same thing. What you're planning, how you are perceiving things, everyone is perceiving it the same way. And so communicate and get everyone on the same page. Secondly, sometimes we feel reluctant when it comes to communication, that what's the point of me asking a favor? They're just going to say no. Or I have already asked once. If I ask again, it looks bad, etc., etc. But the best thing is to get it out of get it in front of the person who you need that favor from. So the best thing is to send that message, to send that email, to send that request, because once it's out there, you will get the response. And what could be the worst scenario? The worst scenario could be that the person is going to say no to you, right? But communication works for those who work on it. So you work on sending emails, and some of the people that, what they do is they keep it formal, even their emails and messages that they're sending to their friends, to their family members. So they get into the habit of sending formal, messages formally, right? If you have a habit of, not kind of using slang while you're sending messages, that habit might carry on. So whatever habits you work on and build on, those habits will carry on in your professional life as well. So when you're communicating with your friends, make sure the spellings are good, make sure the message is clear, so that way you carry on these good habits of communication in your professional fields as well. Okay. Now, there are different types of communication. And of course, there's written communication, oral communication, nonverbal listening skills. Nonverbal, meaning your gestures, etc. Listening skills, how attentive you are when you're listening. Are you taking down notes? Are you, bringing up the points that the presenter has mentioned? Are you bringing up those points and then asking questions, coding that, oh, you said that in the presentation, I have a question about that. So listening skills, like listening actively, active listening. But today, actually, we are going to focus a lot on written communication because, of course, in the program that you are in, a lot of our communication is through written communication, through emails, messages, etc. And also moving forward, once you get into the into a profession, then how to land an email or resume or application request, all of that. It's kind of surrounds written communication. So we'll focus on written communication more today. Okay, so number one, what is effective communication in the workplace? So of course, I'll wait for feedback from you. What do you think is effective communication in the workplace? And again, we are talking about workplace, but we can implement all that we are going to learn today in our homes as well, with our friends, family members, to improve on our relationships as well, not just in our profession. So what is an effective communication in the workplace? What do you think that effective communication should hold when you are, let's say, in your program, in the coding program? What is an effective way of communication? Okay, so respecting each other, Sundas is saying, respecting each other, being punctual. So, when you are communicating with others, you are being respectful. And, if you have a time for a meeting, you show up at that time. Okay, good. What else? What is effective communication? So if you are talking in your group, everyone is present, and now you're working together to do your presentation. So what will be an effective form of communication with each other? Like, how would you communicate with other team members? Of course, you will be respectful. What else? Let's see what we get here. Okay. So Ganti is saying that waiting for team members' opinions. Yes. So to be open about the opinions of others, to be listening, to be active listener. Good. What else? What is an effective form of communication when you are working with your group? What else? Anything else? What do you expect when you are working with your team members? What do you expect? Or because what you expect from others, then you want to show that in your work ethics as well, right? That next time when you have the meeting again, or if you're working with a group, you want to show that ethic that was missing in other team members. Okay, so let's move on. Let's see what we have here. So effective communication in the workplace. So let's focus on the underlying words. That, effective communication in the workplace, it should be efficient and effective. So now we have this repetition, effective. But, the thing is that when you are exchanging information and ideas, then make sure it's efficient and effective, meaning that other people, they understand what the idea is, right? While information and ideas are frequently exchanged in a workplace setting, they aren't also sent and received in an accurate way. So make sure that you kind of summarize that, okay, this is what the idea is. this is what we are working on, this is what the objective is. So being efficient and effective, but being accurate as well. Good communication involves not just relaying information, but being able to explain it in a way that ensures the recipient understands you, right? Again, that, sometimes we think that, our perception is not necessarily the perception of others. So we have to explain our objective in an efficient, in a concise manner. So in a brief manner that other people understand it. So using effective words, effective vocabulary, and being efficient, that you're not lagging on to explain the same thing over and over and over again. So being efficient, being effective, being accurate, and make sure that others understand it, that it's not too complicated, that it contains all the important parts. Okay, other things. Okay, now here we have what are the 5 C's of communication. So when you are communicating via email, maybe sending an email to us, to maybe in the future for looking for a job, or to anyone in your group, or even when you're working in the group, not just email, just kind of working together on a project. What are the 5 C's of communication? Can any of you help me? What are the 5 C's of communication? That when you're communicating with your group, what are some of the things you need to keep in mind? I did mention some of the things in the previous slide: to be effective, to be efficient, to be accurate, and that, everyone understands each other. But what are these 5 C's of communication? What do you think are some words that start with the letter C that we can implement in our communication to make it effective? Okay, let's see. Clear, yes, to be clear. That's excellent. Suganti is saying clear. What else? Conversation, to have conversation. Good. Yes, to have a conversation, right? Whatever is on your mind, spit it out, take it out, inform others of, sometimes we think our ideas are not great, like other people, they have better ideas. But it's better to put it out. Maybe no one would like the idea, but at least you have said it. Or maybe everyone would like that idea, right? So we don't know until we share it. To be a cooperative, yes, good, awesome. So you can ensure effective communication by implementing the following 5 C's. So number 1, clarify. So as Suganti said, to be clear, right? Number 2, concise. So meaning, again, to be brief, that what you want to deliver, what you want to say, be concise, right? Instead of just going on and on and on and on, same thing over and over again. Being consistent. So meaning that if you're sending an email, be consistent in your request. So if you want to, if you're sending an email for a job, then, be consistent that this is what I want, right? This is what I'm requesting for. Okay. So be consistent. Connection, meaning that are you connecting with the people? If you are working in the group, that, again, you engage them. You make sure that they are being connected to you. And confidence, that you are presenting it confidently. And we kind of talked about this previously as well, but I'll bring it up again, that, sometimes people feel very nervous when they are doing a presentation, but bottom line is that who are we presenting to? We're presenting to people just like us, right? If it's a group, mixed group, then you can think of your friends, you can think of your siblings, that I'm just presenting to people like, my friends, people like my siblings. I'm never nervous around them. Why would I be nervous? People, right? And connecting, engaging them, getting their feedback. And rest we already covered. So what are the 5 C's? Clarify, concise, consistent, connection, and confidence. So these are the 5 C's of communication. So let's keep them in mind. Okay, okay. Now here we have something called the RACI matrix, and this RACI matrix, you can implement that this matrix when, again, in your personal life, or you can also implement it while you're working on your projects in the coding program. You can implement that. And also you can implement it when you land a job, when you are working in a profession. And it is very, like this matrix, it is very important in a sense that it brings clarity to the tasks at hand, that everyone is clear about what their task is. And sometimes what happens is that what you might have noticed it while you're working in the team, in a team. Actually, I should ask you, did you feel any drawbacks while working with team members? Like, did you face any challenges? What are some of the challenges? And then we can talk about how we can implement this matrix while we're working in a team. Okay, good. So what were some of the challenges you faced while you were working in the team? Let's see if we see anyone who would like to share the challenges, or was everything great when you were working in your group to do the group project? Okay. Okay, pushy teammates. Okay. Okay, so would you like to explore more on it? That they were, how were they pushy? And again, bottom line is, when a few people are working together, there is going to be some friction, right? Not all minds are aligned. So to prevent any disagreement, any friction, to do everything now. Okay, so here let's look at this matrix. And again, this is very important. You can and I will share the link with you, the document for RACI matrix, that the chart is already made. You just have to edit it for your group, for your even for your household, or in the future. So how this RACI matrix work, that number one, that you have to assign every task to certain team members. So number one, responsible. So in RACI matrix, R stands for responsible, that who's responsible for getting the work done. So for example, if you're doing the project and there is game 1, so you can write the task here. I'll show you how it's done. Oh, I guess you can't really see it. I expanded it too much. Okay, hang on. Let's see. Maybe we can see it better now. Kind of. Okay. So here you can see task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. So we have the tasks. Okay. Now let's go back. So who is responsible for game 1? So who is responsible to write the code for game 1? So you write task 1 is game 1, and you write the name of the person, like you write R under that person's name, that Sundus is responsible, R under Sundus names, that Sundus is responsible for game 1. Accountable, A in RACI matrix stands for accountable. So here we can match it. A is for accountable. Who oversees the task? So usually in your group project, I don't know if you have anyone accountable, because everyone is working together. So you could assign someone to be accountable but usually I think there would be a lot of hours that people responsible for certain tasks. So Suganti is responsible for game 2, Sundas for game 1, and this person for that, different tasks. Or, the header has to be made by this person, the footer has to be made by this person. So different tasks, different people responsible for. So everyone is clear what their tasks are. Accountable, who oversees the tasks. So meaning, for example, Hafsa is accountable for overseeing that everyone is fulfilling their responsibility. They're not lagging behind. They're not ignoring the task that they were made responsible for. Okay, so this accountability, again, it's not, maybe you cannot implement it as much in your group projects, but when you work in a profession or professionally, then of course there's always a person who is accountable, like who oversees the task, right? Who is looking that if the team, he is kind of like the supervisor of the team. Now, what is consulted? C in RACI matrix, C is who needs to assist in the completion of a task with additional information or support. So the person who is consulted, he's not responsible. So responsible are the people who are doing the task, but consultant are, it's like resources that, if you can consult, like, I'm having difficulty in this task. What do you recommend? Or should, I completed this task. Why don't you have a look and let me know your feedback? You can, of course, have other team members as consultant as well. So all the tasks that everyone is responsible for, all the team members can be consultant for each other, okay? And then informed, who needs to be kept up to date on the progress of a task or deliver, or, anything that you have accomplished. So who needs to be kept up to date, that we have done this much, this much, this much. So that could be your instructors, it could be the support team. And by keeping in touch with the people who needs to be informed, it keeps us on the toes that, we need to inform this person that when we have done this much part, we need to inform, let's say, Alim or Arib, like one of your instructors, that I need to inform them. So this, RACI matrix, maybe if you can start implementing it when you are doing your projects, it will make your communication with your teammates a little bit more easy. And another thing is that when you're doing the project, if you don't have the RACI matrix, if you don't have, people assigned for different tasks, then what happens is that some of the tasks are left undone. And some of the tasks are done by everyone. Like everyone is doing one part, or few people are doing one part, or working on the footer or the header or the body or game 1, and no one is working on the website or the presentation part. So this way, everyone is clear. There's no friction. There's no confusion. Everything gets done in an orderly manner. And same, again, you can apply that everywhere, with, as a student, as a family member, as a teacher, and as a professional. Okay, so let's clear all of this. And I showed you already how you can implement it. If you are interested, then I can share the document with you. So here you can write the names here. Oh, sorry. Oops. Wrong. Okay, it's not downloading. It's not letting me like show you how you can edit it, but I can share the document with you and you can edit it yourself. So here you can just write down the name, Suganti, Sundas, all the names here, and then tasks. And then Suganti is, she is accountable, or she is responsible, or she is the consultant. She is the one who needs to be informed. So everyone can have their task clearly labeled here. And again, the purpose is so we are communicating in an efficient and clear way. Okay, so there are no confusions. Okay, any questions here before we move on? Okay, we have a question here that what to do when they are not even ready to listen or understand team members' difficulties. So I think bottom line is that, it is very important. Empathy is very important in any field. And, it is one of the soft skills we talked about previously, that, to be flexible, to be empathetic with others. But, bottom line is if the team members are not being, are not listening, are not being responsive to your issues, then definitely you can inform our support team, and we are always there to help. And if we are working in a professional setting, I think the best is to kind of have a very open communication channel. And again, there's always someone above, like some supervisor, someone superior. You can always reach out to them. But working in a team, this is why you guys have your group presentations, so you understand how to work in a group. Because as a programmer, a lot of it is done in groups with partners. People assign different tasks, etc. And there is sometimes a lot of pressure when you're working with people, with groups. So again, keeping the communication channel open, and being, I guess, being responsible for your task all the time. And then one time, if you are lagging behind because of some personal reason or problems or issues, hopefully you are with such people who would understand your issues, hopefully. And I just want to say again that if you are facing any issues here, let us know, and then we can adjust the group in such a way that people are more responsive and empathetic. Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. So again, what I said, you have to work on your communication. Some elders, they say that, if you don't ask, you're not going to get it, right? Some in my community, there's a saying that if a baby does not cry, the mother does not feed the baby, right? If the baby is playing, the mother is not going to start feeding the baby. When the baby makes a fuss, the mother, is attentive, making sure the baby is fed, changed, taken care of. So if we make a noise, if we send an email, if we send a message, then we will get a response. If we don't send an email, if we don't send a message, then the people who are there to help and assist, they wouldn't know that you need help, right? So again, what is the worst case scenario would be them saying no, right? And the best case scenario is that you will get everything resolved. All right, so this is our RACI matrix, and this is something that professionals are using. So it's not just that I'm presenting to you for your group presentation, as I said it earlier, and I'm now emphasizing it again, that this is being used in many companies, and it is something that would be very good that you get your hands on and get some experience in utilizing this matrix. Okay. All right, so we'll move on. If there are no, oops, sorry, my bad again. Here. Okay, so now let's see what we have. Now we are going to actually talk about written communication. So first part of our workshop was just communication. How do we talk to each other, communicate with each other? And professionally, how do we do it? We should be clear, concise, accurate, and to be consistent, to be effective, efficient, etc. Now, what we're going to talk about is written communication. So, of course, easy question for all of you. What are some of the forms of written communication? How do we communicate in writing with others? What are some of in the digital world that we live in today? How do we communicate with each other in writing? Okay, email, what else? Anything else? This is very easy. So what are some of the ways we communicate to each other in writing? We write emails, blogs, there are text messages, different things. So all these things that I have written here, emails, text messages, blog posts, business letters, reports, proposals, contracts, all these things, okay? But we're going to focus on emails, okay? So let's move on. So qualities of effective written communication. So what are some of the good qualities? How can we make our writing, our email effective? What are some of the things that we need to implement in our email or in our written communication to make it effective? Okay, let's see if we can suggest something. Okay, no, I don't think telepathy is gonna work. We need to communicate with each other. Yes. So again, sometimes we think others can sense what we are thinking. That's not how it works. We have to communicate. We have to talk, express what our needs are, what works for us, what does not work for us. So it is very important. So some of the qualities of effective written communication is that it should be comprehensive, that it should have all the relevant details. It should be accurate, that all details are correct. So before you send out an email, of course here, it's not, if you are sending an email to the support team, of course, we are not, it's not like you have to send a very formal email to us. But by implementing what we are learning today in our future emails, you will get an experience hands-on on sending professional emails when it will come to landing a job or requesting for a job. So one of the things when you're sending a written if you're writing an email or a message, make sure it's comprehensive, make sure it is accurate, make sure it is appropriate, that it has the right tone and level of formality. Okay, composition, that there are no spelling errors and it is clear that, the message is clear. So bottom line is, we'll talk about this, about how to write an email. We'll go through it very quickly because I feel that a lot of us do understand. Maybe we are sometimes lazy not to implement all we know how to send a professional formal email when it comes to sending an email to the support team. But I'll go through all the points, but just keep in mind that when you're writing anything, that it is comprehensive, accurate, appropriate, composition, even the spellings, and it is clear. A lot of help, short and to the point, and that is very correct. Sundas, thank you so much for that message. That being brief in this day and age, no one has the time, so make it very brief and to the point. So how to write an email? How should you start the email? Should you write hi? You're sending a formal email. How should you start it? Should you say, hi, Aisha, hello, Sundas, hey there, hi, folks. How should you start a formal, we're talking about formal emails. How should you address the person you are sending the email to? What are some of the good way to start it? Okay, respected sir, ma'am. Okay, what else? Okay, okay, so you're sending a formal email. What are some of the ways to start your email? Okay, so respected sir, ma'am, it just makes it to whom it may concern good. Sometimes it actually makes it very, very kind of formal. So, if you want to keep it less formal, now, you can say hi and hello. And if you want to make it more formal, then you say dear. And, ma'am or sir, you don't have to say it. What you can do, you can search that person's name and you can write that person's name. Okay. So if you know the person you're writing the email to, you just say hi and that person's name, hello, that person's name. If you want to be really formal because you have never met that person, then you can address that person by saying dear. Okay. As Sundas was saying, that to whom it may concern, you can start an email if you are sending an email to a business, to a company, and you're not sure who you are sending it to. You could write to whom it may concern for formal greetings, or hello everyone. For a group of recipients you have a casual relationship with. So if you're sending an email to a business and you don't know who the director is, then you can write to whom it may concern. And if you're sending to a group that you already know, you have met, you can say hello everyone. But usually we do know who we are sending the email to. So what you do, you can say hi, this person, and hello, this person. Some of the salutations that you can use to start your formal email are as such as you can see, dear, and their name. To whom it may concern, but as I have said, that it's better that you research to find out the person's name who you are sending the email to. Hello, you can say hello and their name, hi, and then their name, greetings, their name, good morning, good evening. So these are some of the ways you can address people when you are sending out a formal email. So, you set off the right mood, like you start your email correctly. Okay, now moving on. Okay, let's clear this before we move on. So now, as I said about the name, that just research. If you know the person, his name is, let's say, Joseph, then, don't say hi, Joe. Like, don't shorten the name. Like it's not like he's your buddy or your friend. Just, write the full name, like the first name. You can check the spelling of the recipient's name correctly by, if you have their email. A lot of the time, if you click their email, you can see their full name. Or if you know this person is on LinkedIn, then you can check on their LinkedIn profile the spelling of their names, or any other social media app. And as I said, if they have a Gmail account, check their full name by typing their email and then hitting the tab button, hovering over the email address to see their name. Okay, so that way the spelling is correct. Then second thing, so we got the greeting, okay, hi, hello, dear, and with their name. Now the next thing that's very important is the subject. So when you're writing the subject line, we know where the subject goes. It should be short and specific. Like the subject should not be the body of the email, just something short and specific. And anything over 10 words is probably too long. And when you're writing a subject, try that it catches the person's attention. Okay, that it's like kind of like the summary of what your email is about. You write it in the subject. Okay. Now, when you are, again, when you are writing the subject, keep these things in mind. Like when you're sending emails to us, like, of course, as I said, it doesn't have to be that formal, but we are preparing ourselves for the workforce. So and even maybe some of you are already working, and you can get your practice in by sending us formal emails. So when you're sending an email, keep in mind when you're writing the subject, who the recipient is, your connection to that person, meaning how can you connect to that person? What are you going to write in the subject to connect to the person? And your credibility, meaning don't put some lies in the subject. For example, as I said, write a subject line that catches the person's attention, and then you write something that's not true, so just to catch the person's attention. Because some of the things that you can write in the subject is like, I'm following up on the email, or I'm following up on our meeting. And if it had not happened and you put it in the subject line, then, it's not credible information that you're giving about yourself. So, so when you're writing the subject line, again, we are just going over it one more time, that keep in mind who the recipient is, how to connect with that person, again, to catch the person's attention, and your credibility. That, of course, I'm pretty sure this is kind of like common sense. You're not going to write something, false information in the subject just to catch the person's eye. Maybe they will open that email the first time, but I guess if you are not putting in credible or true information, they would not be taking your emails or answering or reading your emails in the future. Okay. Now, so we got the subject, and now we are at the body of the email. So what do you think should the body of the email be? How should you start? Should you be like, the weather is very nice, or, what should be the body of the email be when you're sending a formal email? What should the body of the email be? Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, introduce yourself if it is the first time. Good. That's great. Anyone else? What are some of the things that you can put in the body of the email? In a professional email, one of the things is to, as one of you was saying, that to keep it concise, right? Brief, keep it brief. So the body, like any other email, formal emails, it has to be short, especially when you are sending an email, maybe about that you are interested in this job, keep it brief. I'm just going to read what I have on the screen, and then we'll move on to the next screen, because it has a very important point to keep in mind when it comes to writing professional emails. One is understand your intention. So you can write it down. Why am I sending the email? So you can do a rough draft that why am I sending the email before you even begin writing the body of the email. Explain your intention and get to the point. So you need to know why you're sending the email, right? You need to know what it is, and you have to explain it accurately, effectively, so the other will understand it and get to the point. So here, this is something called bluff strategy. When writing a professional email, keep this word in mind, this acronym, bluff strategy. So what does bluff stand for? It doesn't stand for bluffing. It stands for bottom line upfront. Why are you sending the email? What's the bottom line, right? What's the purpose here? Whatever the bottom line is, put it up front. right? Don't talk about this and that and this and that. It is very important that in the first line, you bring it up, whatever the bottom line is. So if we go to the previous slide, as I said, that, we need to know what our intention is. Why am I sending the email, and make it known, like be clear on the reason why sending that email, but keep the bottom line up front, because some people, they're not going to have the time to read through your entire email. If it's right there in the front, up front, then of course the reader will know, the recipient will know right away that this is the purpose of the email. Okay. So this is very important. And as you can see on the screen, Harvard Business Review calls this the bluff strategy, that writing your bottom line up front so the recipient can quickly answer the 5 W's: who it is from, what it's for, where it's from, when, and why. So right away, all the questions are answered, that why is this email sent, what's the purpose, etc., etc. So let's keep that in mind when we are sending a professional email, that you make our point right away. Okay, I was going to clear the drawings and then I did not. Okay, sign off properly. There are many options for signing off in an email, but it's best not to try to reinvent the wheel, meaning, don't put key there. Just stick with the safe option, like sincerely, thanks again, best, warmly, warm regards, kind regards, things like that. So just basic. So you got the subject, the catchy subject, and then you got the body, you got the address, how to address the person you're sending the email to, and then you sign off properly, right? And there are many other things that you can add before signing off properly. That was, hope to hear back from you soon, sentences like that. Of course, you can add that as well. When we say the body of the email should be concise, you can put a few paragraphs, like few short paragraphs, but no more than that. One paragraph is good enough, but this is when it comes to you sending an email about applying for a job, or something like one topic, right? If there's only one objective, then keep it brief. But if there's a few objectives, for example, now you're hired, you're working in a company, and you have certain things, few things that you want to discuss, then of course one per paragraph for each objective. So one paragraph each, and then just concisely presenting it. Okay, so we got this, and next up, we're almost towards the end of our workshop. LinkedIn. So I missed some part here. Properly, you sign off with one of these words, and then of course your full name. And if you're working with someone, like if you're working in a company, then you can write your title, so full name. And you can even, when you are a professional, or you're working in a company, you can add your professional signatures, your business card, things like that at the end. So everyone, that with every email, it goes out. So those are a few things that I guess in the future we can, talk more about. Now, LinkedIn, it is a timely, professional, and when we send a message, because I think Yusuf did a workshop about LinkedIn, and all of you getting your account on LinkedIn, etc., your profile being set up. But what about, how do we send a professional message on LinkedIn? Or how do we send a message to someone that we want to request for a job, right? How do we send a message? So when we are on LinkedIn, we need to keep in mind that it is a professional website, And the message that we are going to send should be a professional message, not that, oh, it's just a message and I can just say, hey there, like hi, some very, very informal greetings and informal message. No. On LinkedIn, when you are requesting for a job or showing your interest in some job, then you have to make it professional. So here, as you can see on the screen, a timely, professional, and clear LinkedIn message can go a very long way. You probably won't be surprised to learn that 72% of hiring managers use LinkedIn when trying to fill a role. Wow. Someone asked me once that, to connect with someone for a student co-op job, and that where should she send the message? Should she send the message on LinkedIn or WhatsApp? So LinkedIn is better because it has your professional profile set up, right? It's not like WhatsApp, you're sending a message, then you have to say all these things that you are from this profession or you're a student, this and that. But LinkedIn, because your profile is right there, the recipient can look at your profile. So LinkedIn is the best way. Of course, email, LinkedIn, but keeping in mind that LinkedIn, when you are requesting for consideration for an opportunity, then you write a formal message. Okay, add a short message with your connection request. So if you are sending a connection request, send a message with it, a short one. When you send a connection request, always include a personalized note. It's a simple gesture, but it can significantly boost your chances of acceptance. Think of it as your digital handshake, a way to introduce yourself. And, on LinkedIn, of course, as you are already aware, that you are there, linking with people from the field that you are interested in. People who share the same kind of interest, jobs or fields that you want to work in. So you link to them, you connect to them. And when you want to, not necessarily that right away you're sending a message for a job interest, you can start with sending a message to be a connection request, and then go from there. So again, you send a message when you send a connection request. Mentioning a shared interest or connection can break the ice. For example, a message like, hi there, like whatever the name of the person is, I noticed we both attended this university. So something that you share with that person. So when you send a message, you connect with them. So different ways of connecting. If you know someone and that person is in the contact list of the person you're trying to connect with, then you can mention that person. You can say that I see both of us, we have this mutual friend, and I really, I'm inspired by their work, and I would like to connect and learn more about your experience in the same field. So different things that how to connect. Sometimes we see, these job opportunities, and we are not being active about it. A lot of people who are looking, number one is they are very inactive. Number two is that they are not reaching out, right? They're not reaching out, or they are not sending follow-up messages. So if you are doing all of the above, then if you in a positive sentence, if you're doing all of the above, then there is a high chance for you to get to land a job, or to get in connection with people with the same interest or same field. Okay, so here I just went back to the field, to the screen where we were saying that on LinkedIn, you can connect to people by sharing with them, shared interest or connection. Or if they have done a webinar, then you can mention that I listened to your webinar, or if they have posted a blog, you can mention, I read your blog, different things that you can use to connect to them. Recent achievements or updates, these are some of the ways, examples I have on this screen, how you can connect with people on LinkedIn, that, if they have achieved something, you can make a mention of that, congratulate them, and show your interest in it. Shared groups or interest, that if you are in a LinkedIn group, then you can send a connect request with, showing that you share the same interest. So craft an attention-grabbing LinkedIn message title, like the subject of an email. So if you are sending a message on LinkedIn to get for a job request, then just think of it that this message is like a formal email. So message on LinkedIn, think of it as like a formal email. So first you start, there is no place where it says subject and you write the subject, right? But you craft it like that. So you write an attention-grabbing LinkedIn message title. So think of that title as the subject of an email, like the body, the format of the LinkedIn message is like a formal email. Okay, so all those, what we learned previously, having a subject, so that would call the LinkedIn message title. Then the greeting, salutation that we looked at, what we can use. Then the body of the message, the bluff, right? Bottom line up front, and then, ending it properly, your name, etc. And then you can also attach a resume, things like that. But bottom line is, what we are learning, that even on LinkedIn, when you send a message, to connect to professionals, sending a professional message until you actually get to know those people. Sending a follow-up message. So a lot of the time when we see that the person is unresponsive, then of course, as humans, we lose hope that, oh, this person didn't even read my message. They didn't even respond to my message. They didn't even look at my message. So instead of feeling bad, just send a follow-up message. Okay, and we don't need to be stalking people, but just a brief follow-up message that I was wondering if you have seen my message, and I'm just following up on that. Just a brief message. Okay, that's about it. We are at the end of our workshop. Any question about communication, written communication, any insight, what you learned today that you would be implementing when you're communicating in your group, when you're working on the presentation, any points that you're taking away with you? Because the most important thing is that, we need to make a plan, that whatever we are learning, how we are going to implement it. Not just, okay, I have attended the workshop and done. So whatever, RACI matrix. So that's why we have these, these catchy words, RACI matrix, the 5 C's of communication. And then we have, when you're writing an email, the greeting, the bluff, all those things, catchy, hopefully that the acronyms, so that it will stick with you. Okay, let's see. Yes, so for resume, we will talk to you about that in the coming weeks and months. So that is on our list. So we will help you with that, each and every one of you, in one-on-one, on how to work on the resumes, or smaller groups, and then work on the resumes. And definitely we have our full team we'll be working with you. All of us will be working with you, and to make sure that your resume is done, you're connected to the right people, and even landing a job. Okay, any questions, any remarks before we close off? Okay, let's see. Okay, so all right. Okay, so we will sign off here, and you have 1 hour. I just looked at the time. We ended a little bit earlier than expected. So you have this hour to, catch up on some work, or even making a plan of the things that you have learned today. Make a plan, write down the points that we have covered, that, how you can implement them to succeed in our program and also in the future. That is very crucial, because I'm thinking that maybe in the next workshop, if I can, see how you're implementing all we have learned together. We talked about time management in the previous one of the workshop, and how to manage time. Are any of the skills that you're implementing that we learned there? And same here in this workshop and the one on AI. So just so that we are implementing it, taking it and using it. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and listening to me. And I'm hoping to see you next week. And I'm hoping that you implement all these tools that are available to you and that we learned about today to succeed in your program. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, and take care. You as well. Thank you. Take care.